What's crackalackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know so. And today we're doing a 2018 redraft. That's right, we got 5 to 6 years of hindsight, so let's go ahead and do it better. The draft order is what it was going into the draft. So if you got questions about that, there, I answered it. Quick, I want to give a shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Thank you for sponsoring the video. Underdog Fantasy currently has Best Ball of Mania, where they have $15 million in cash prizes currently available. But when you use promo code Broshmo, when you sign up, they will match your first deposit up to $100. So remember, promo code Broshmo, and they'll match that deposit up to $100. But also remember, bet responsibly, my friends. Let's go ahead, get into this sucker. Now, the Browns, they have 2 first-round picks, 2 top 5 picks, top 4 technically. They got the 1st overall and the 4th overall, and I think it's pretty easy. Let's go ahead. They don't have their quarterback yet. Let's go ahead and get that quarterback. And for some people, it might be a toss-up between Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. For me, Josh Allen kind of wins out. The dude is built different, but don't worry, Lamar ain't going to be on the board much longer. He's going to go with this pick to the New York Giants. Eli Manning he's been at the end of his rope for quite some time now, and Lamar Jackson is just such a rare playmaker. And when you look at the rest of this class, like Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, those guys never worked out. Baker Mayfield has not worked out yet, and there's just not another quarterback in this class. So if you have a quarterback need, go ahead and get that sucker addressed right now. So that's what we're gonna do, which actually puts me in a bit of a predicament here as the New York Jets, because I'm like, I don't know what I really want to do. I really wanted to get a quarterback, but I guess looking at this team, listen, they're going to be in a rebuild regardless of who we pick here. So if all the quarterbacks are off the board, we could just build the offensive line. This is a really good offensive line or offensive tackle class. Well, because no, it's a good offensive line class as well. So we're going to address the offensive tackle position. Currently, they got Kelvin Beachum and Brandon Shell there. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to take who I think is the best tackle in this class as it stands now. And it's Jordan Mailata, dude. He ended up being like a 7th round pick, and he has been a stud. So now he goes 3rd overall. So already big changes happening. Now, this is the Cleveland Browns' 2nd pick. We took Josh Allen with the 1st one. And you know what? We saw how good Josh Allen became once the Bills went out and got Stephon Diggs. And this receiving class could be better. There's really one guy that's head and shoulders just better than the rest of the field. And we're going to snag ourselves a little DJ Moore to pair up with Josh Allen. So you get Josh Allen, you get DJ Moore. I think the only receiver they have at the time is Jarvis Landry. So yeah, future looking bright. You pair up your quarterback with a high-end wide receiver, and I like it. Denver Broncos. All right, I was looking at this team, and this team needs quarterback. We can't get a quarterback. I just wanted to say they need quarterback, but they ain't one here. But I think adding Quentin Nelson on the offensive line, because they do got kind of a need at guard right now, would just be phenomenal. Because I mean, with how good this defense is currently at quarterback, they got Case Keenum. So just build around that. They got some receivers there, so it's like, okay, let's just build. And when we are able to bring in a high-end future franchise quarterback, he's already got everything around him built and ready to succeed. So Quentin Nelson, he's going to help us do that, which kind of sucks because I would have loved to take Quentin Nelson here for the Colts, but he's not available. Gojo once left out. I'm going to get him let out real quick. All right. Take it easy, Gojo. So yeah, no Quentin Nelson here. Fun fact for a little context, after this season, Andrew Luck would retire the following, right in the build up to the 2019 season. So is there anything we could do to stop that? And I think the best we could probably do is just try to get offensive line talent. And again, Nelson, not on the board here, but I think someone who does fit the scheme is Orlando Brown. And I know people kind of think he's kind of mid, but I think he's a good tackle in the league. And I mean, there's other good players here too, like Colton Miller is right up there. You got Connor Williams, is more of an interior guy. Did come out of Texas playing tackle, but now playing guard and center. There's Mike McGlinchey. There's Brian O'Neill. He's not on here, but we will see him later in the first round. Braden Smith. So there's a lot of good talent. We could double up with Braden Smith, but I think I'm going to lean on Orlando Brown here. And again, think of context. Let's just try to get protection for Andrew Luck. Maybe he won't retire. The right tackle spot's kind of wide open, and Orlando Brown did a really good job there in Baltimore at doing that. Okay, next we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and there are just so many good tackles in this class. I just want to grab one before, the run happens, because you're probably not going to get one in the second round. And like looking at this, they can replace the older DeMar Dotson. They have Donovan Smith, who eventually becomes an all right tackle too. So I'm going to grab Colton Miller, man. He's been very good for the Raiders. All right, we got the Chicago Bears here. They do eventually get Khalil Mack, but that's right before the season starts in 2018. So I'm going to act like we don't have Khalil Mack as of right now. Unfortunately, I don't think there's an edge guy I want to snag here. And we're just going to keep this run on offense going, because with Mitch Trubisky, let's give him a chance and give him more weapons. They currently have a younger Allen Robinson when he was really good. Hopefully he could get back to that. But let's pair it up with Calvin Ridley, man. I know the whole Bennett thing, been out for football for a year. I think we forget how good Calvin Ridley really is. We're going to pair him up with Allen Robinson, give Mitch Trubisky some weapons. And you might be like, all right, we're 8 picks in. We have not seen a defensive player come off the board yet. Well, we're going to get it here, man, because Ridley would have been really good here. I would have loved Calvin Ridley here for the Niners, but he's not. So we're just going to go ahead and grab Fred Warner. Listen, he was their best pick in this draft class. He's one of, if not the best linebacker in football. So let's not change the Niners' best pick in this class. So we're first defensive player off the board is Fred Warner. Okay, we're going to have a little run on defensive players here, because looking at the Oakland Raiders at the time, they don't trade for Khalil Mack yet. They don't trade Khalil Mack, so we're going to act like Khalil Mack's still there and there's no plans to trade him. And we're just going to get some help in the secondary. Their corner position's actually pretty darn bad, and there's actually 2 really good corners in this class. I could have went earlier, but I was looking at certain quarterback situations and whatnot. I was like, man, I probably should just jump on tackle here. And that's why we kind of saw that tackle run, or that offensive line run. But I'm going to grab Denzel Ward, kind of edges out Jair Alexander for me, but don't worry, Jair's coming off the board right here for my Miami Dolphins. He is the best player on the board. The cornerback room doesn't look great outside of Xavier Howard. They do have Bobby McCain there, who has really good flexibility in the defensive backfield, and Alexander's a guy that can play inside and out. So there, we got a little run on defensive players going, but it ends here. Buffalo, listen, they got 2 picks. I was thinking at this pick, I was like, all right, there's 2 really good linebackers in this class. Maybe they make it to pick 22. Maybe. There's Roquan Smith. There's Shaquille Leonard. I would even consider Tremaine Edmonds again at 22. But instead, since we can't get our quarterback in the future, I think adding a good right tackle, and that's what I was looking for, a good right tackle, because it's currently a left tackle. They got Deion Dawkins. So there's Mike McGlinchey. There's Brian O'Neill, 2 very good right tackles. I'm actually going to go with Braden Smith. It was a toss-up for me, really close, but I'm going to go with Braden Smith here, and my plans to get a defensive player with the Bills' next pick, hoping really linebacker. Now we have the Washington, let's just call them the Red Hogs on the clock. And I was looking at this roster. Receiver was kind of a big need, but I mean, we could take a look at receiver. It's honestly not that sexy of a class at this point. Like Christian Kirk's probably the next guy up. You got Courtland Sutton, but he's been often hurt. DJ Chark, Michael Gallup. Again, it's just not that good. Alan Lazard, it's just not that good of a class, guys. So it's like, okay, we won't go wide receiver then. I was looking at the defense, and I was like, man, I could honestly just dip into the safety class. Derwin James, Mika Fitzpatrick, Jesse Bates. Those are the guys I'm looking at. But they originally got Daron Payne with this pick. And I like the idea of going with maybe a nose tackle. I'm not going with Payne, though. I'm going with Vita Vea, man. I think Vita Vea is so underrated. Dude is a big mammoth of a human being that could actually push the pocket consistently. I think he's better than Daron Payne. Again, it's close. We're talking about like top guys at their positions in the league. The Green Bay Packers, the secondary, it's in shambles. It really is. I wanted to go corner. I did consider a couple of corners here because there's some good corners here right now available. Carlton Davis, Dante Jackson. We got DJ Reed. DJ Reed, very underrated. JC Jackson. I don't think Jackson's a good fit, though, currently, what they got going on defense. But I think I'm going to go, the safeties are just too good here. And I think Derwin James probably fits a bit better for the Packers. So we're grabbing Derwin James at 14. All right, we got the Arizona Cardinals. And this is me playing a little 3 or 4D chess. They have Hassan Reddick. Maybe if they had better linebackers like that could play in the middle, then they would be quicker just to have Hassan Reddick be this monster off the edge. So we're actually going to grab a linebacker here in Roquan Smith, man. He is pretty darn good, which would have been actually a nice pick for the Baltimore Ravens. Now that I'm looking in hindsight here, but kind of is what it is. They got Lamar this draft. He's gone. So another year of Joe Flacco, who's on his last legs. But the O-line is actually pretty darn good. So I was like, you know what? Running back might not be an option because you have like 2 of the best running backs in the league currently, and Saquon Barkley, and you got Nick Chubb. And I'm going to lean with Barkley just being the better athlete, what he can do both as a home run threat and as a pass catcher. So I'm going to lean with him there. It's pretty close. So for me, it's a bit of a toss-up. So as the Chargers here, it kind of sucks that we saw Derwin James come off the board just 3 picks earlier, man. It would be so cool if we were able just to, get that player here. But I don't think I'm going to steer too clear. I did think maybe go right tackle because there's, again, Mike McGlinchey, Brian O'Neill. Those are 2 very good ones. But Jesse Bates is really good. Like he was one of my best players on the board. I think he's a really good steal here. You can make the case for Mika Fitzpatrick, but in terms of what I'm probably looking at schematically, I probably prefer Jesse Bates. Don't worry, we'll see Mika Fitzpatrick come off the board fairly soon. Next on the clock is the Seattle Seahawks. And I was looking at this roster and I thought, you know what? The offensive line probably could use a little bit of improvement. And fortunately, this is a very good offensive line class in general. So I'm going to go with Wyatt Teller, man. Didn't work out for Buffalo, but boy, the minute he got to Cleveland, he was looking mighty good. The Dallas Cowboys. Now, this team feels like they've been squishy on the interior of that defensive line for so long. That's why, teams were able to effectively run against them. Well, we got Daron Payne still on the board. Let's go ahead and snag that dude for the Cowboys. That'd be a great pick. Okay, we got the Detroit Lions here, and this is funny because in my 2017 video, I ended up drafting Christian McCaffrey, and in this video, I think I'm going to take a linebacker. But I mean, to be fair, Shaquille Leonard is kind of a top 10 linebacker in the league, and the linebacker core is actually really bad for the Detroit Lions. So we're going to go ahead and snag that for them. The Cincinnati Bengals on the clock here. Billy Price was the original pick, and that was pretty bad. But you know who's not bad? Freaking Frank Ragnow ain't half bad. We're going to go ahead and snag him for the Cincinnati Bengals. So unfortunately for me, just look at this. The linebackers flew all off the board. Now I'm kind of looking at like Tremaine Edmonds was a thought here. I'm not gonna lie, but I think ultimately I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna grab Bradley Chubb. He's kind of the best player on the board. He really is. You probably kind of could have took him a few picks earlier, but he as a Dolphins fan, I didn't think trading a first rounder for him, knowing we'd have to give him a deal, was all that great, because he's a guy that's always just been scratching the surface or on the cusp of becoming one of the better edge rushers in football, and hopefully he achieves that next season. Injuries kind of got in the way of that during his time in Denver, but pairing him up with Jerry Hughes, one of the more formidable fronts there in the AFC. The New England Patriots. So I was looking into this, and Gronk actually retires after this season. So let's go ahead. I know he unretires, comes back to the game later on, but just in case, again, this is in hindsight of Gronk retiring. Let's go ahead and let's be the first to dip into this tight end class. And I'm going to grab Mark Andrews. I think he'd be such a good fit in New England. Carolina Panthers, and you know what? The best player on the board for me is Mika Fitzpatrick. He is the exact player that this secondary really, really needs. So he falls here at 24. Hey, it's the NFL draft. Good players fall. The Tennessee Titans, the Tennessee Titans. So like I was looking at the team and I was like, man, they could probably use more pass rush, and Harold Landry for me is one of the top players on the board. He was their best pick in this draft class, so let's just go ahead, take him in the first round, knowing that he'd be good there at Tennessee anyway. All right, now we're at the Atlanta Falcons, and they have an opening at right tackle. And to be fair, the two right tackles still left on the board, Mike McGlinchey and Brian O'Neill, could have gone much earlier, but we're going to get to snag them here for the Falcons. New Orleans Saints. And the Saints, they're actually I was looking at their roster, they're in a really good place right now, and they could probably get more consistent targets. I think that would go a long way. And I'm not too, I guess Christian Kirk was a consideration, but I'm going to go, I think the tight end class is a little bit better right now at this moment. And I'm going to go with Dallas Goedert. You could argue he is a top 10, maybe even a top 5 tight end in the league. Pittsburgh Steelers. Corner's kind of a need. They brought in Joe Hayden, but he's a guy that's going to get old pretty quick. They have Artie Burns. They did bring in Cameron Sutton a year earlier. But he's very versatile in the defensive backfield, that you could probably double up on corner and grab those next tier of cornerbacks. Like we got Carlton Davis, Dante Jackson, DJ Reed. But I think a better scheme fit would actually be J.C. Jackson here. I know he's coming off a down year this past season against the Chargers, but man, I think he would be A-okay in Mike Tomlin's scheme. Okay, the Jacksonville Jaguars, some way, somehow, got to the AFC Championship game with freaking Bortles as their quarterback. That defense is a monster, but hey, if we can't get a new quarterback, I guess we could at least protect our quarterback. I mean, we could go Baker Mayfield. I'm not going to go Baker Mayfield. So I think I'm going to go with, again, I kind of said Mike McGlinchey's kind of that last guy left on the board here in this tackle class, and he would be a great fit there at right tackle for the Jags. They already have Cam Robinson there at left. The Minnesota Vikings, kind of a tough one. I really needed offensive line, and offensive line just flies off the board. literally a pick earlier. I would have loved McGlinchey here for the Minnesota Vikings, but it kind of is what it is. Any other offensive lineman kind of would be a reach here. I would feel like Connor Williams. We got Alex Kappa. I don't know what in the way we have this interior. Isaiah Wynn, he could be a tackle. Like James Daniels ain't bad. So like, yeah, let's just not go there. Instead, I think they could use more depth at corner. And I haven't mentioned this cat's name yet. We're going through these corners, but where you at? Oh, there we go. Charvarius Ward, I think, would be a great fit for Mike Zimmer's scheme. So we're going to snag him here. Another guy that's very underrated in the NFL, in my opinion. Okay, this is the Patriots' second pick in the first round. We grabbed Mark Andrews to kind of be our Gronk replacement. So they went Sony Michel with this pick. Let's go ahead and just rectify that right now with Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb was one of the best running backs in this class, and he was certainly the best running back coming out of Georgia this year. So we're going to snag him here for the Patriots. So they get Chubb and Andrews, so helping that offense, helping Brady. And then with this last pick, the Philadelphia Eagles, and really the stinking world is your oyster. You can kind of go wherever. With this pick, Tremaine Edmonds was a thought. Even Marcus Davenport. But ultimately, I decided on just grabbing a player that they already drafted in this class. And where are you at? Oh, I must have passed him. Or maybe he's with... Nah, he's probably with D-line. That's what it is. Josh Sweat, who's really emerged to be a very nice player there for the Philadelphia Eagles. So we're going to snag him to end the draft here. And let's go ahead and save that sucker. And let's take a gander. You let me know how you think this looks. I mean, it's kind of wild now with Mulata here at 3. And I wonder how people are going to feel about DJ Moore. But I was thinking, man, just pair your quarterback up with a receiver. Like, again, Diggs did so much for Allen once he got there in Buffalo. So that's kind of the idea with Moore and Allen, pairing them up. Offensive line literally flew off the board. First defensive player wasn't taken until pick 9. Then, I mean, we continue, like, the next offensive line wouldn't really have another run. Like, it would just be sprinkled in here and there. We got Brandon Smith at 12, Wyatt Teller at 18, Frank Ragnow at 21. We got Brian O'Neill here at 26, then Mike McGlinchey at 29. So it's kind of interesting. Like, this draft actually had quite a bit of talent. Maybe a few guys I could mention. I'm going to just hover on this final pick so people knew who I selected. But I was like looking and I was like, man, like Justin Reed's still available. You could make a case for really like DJ Reed, Carlton Davis, Tremaine Edmonds. I think there's a lot of good like number 2 pass rushers in this class, like Marcus Davenport, Nwosu, Hubbard, Arden Key. You got John Franklin Myers, BJ Hill would be a really good pick if we did like a second round of these. But yeah, that's it for the video. Go ahead, let me know what you think. Only 2 wide receivers taken in this first round. The guys looking in are like Michael Gallup, Cortland Sutton, Christian Kirk. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section below. That's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing as always. Until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.